What is up, wonderful people? This is Tom Check with Choice Coaching, coming to you today to talk about behaviors. Um, as a coach, I do a lot of work with clients, and we generally start with identifying what it is they want. What do you want? And that's sometimes a challenge in and of itself for folks, but once we get there, and pretty much everybody can get there at some point fairly early on, next we step into identifying what's getting in the way of us getting what we want. And in general, when we recognize that we're not going to externalize our problems, which we've talked about in other videos, we recognize that the internal stuff that's going on is really where change happens. And most of us really naturally default to looking at our behaviors. So we look at the things we do or don't do that get in the way of us getting what we want, that prevent us from getting the things we say we want. And most of us default to trying to change those behaviors, which is really natural. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not broken if you do that. I do that still. But what we all also seem to know really, really close to the surface there is that it doesn't work very well. We've all set that New Year's resolution, and whether it's to lose 10 pounds by eating healthy every day and never eating out, or to be more grateful and journal in my gratitude journal every day, or whatever the behavior is, we recognize that just changing the behavior rarely creates a sustained effect. And that's really challenging because that's what we've been told to do for most of our lives. If you really want to, become a better boss, you just have to show up every day and be a better boss. You have to stop cutting people off, and you have to start asking them what they think and all those things. Sure, we all know that. So why is it so damn hard to actually do it? And the reason is because that behavior is there for a perfectly legitimate cause. It is there for a reason. And at some point in your life, that behavior did a really good job of giving you something that was important to you. And that might have been a long time ago when you were a little squeaker. It might have been a couple years ago. It might have been back before the divorce, the job change, the whatever. But if we don't identify a little bit more about why that behavior exists for us, then we'll never actually understand the fear that's underneath that behavior that's driving it. And that fear is really what prevents us from getting change, from creating change for ourselves. So when we identify what the fear is that's underneath driving these behaviors, we recognize that the behavior itself isn't the problem. The fear is. And that fear is what we then turn our attention towards changing. And there's a lot of different ways we can do that, and we'll talk more about that in another video. But for this video, what I'd highly invite you to do is to sit down and write down what it is you want, first and foremost. What's the most important thing for you right now? And then write down all the behaviors that you've got that are getting in the way. So what are you doing or what are you not doing that's getting in the way of you getting what you want? And again, don't externalize it. This is all about what you are doing or not doing. And then once you've got those, and those probably won't feel really good to write down, but they'll feel really true, go ahead and write down what it is that's driving that behavior. What's the fear underneath that comes up when you think about doing the opposite of that behavior? And it might not be logical, and that's okay, and it might not be rational, and that's totally expected. Our subconscious rarely works in rational, logical models. So it's okay, whatever comes up, but get a little more understanding about what's driving your behaviors. Ask yourself what those fears are. And if nothing else, just writing those down will give you a little bit more space to make a choice for doing something different. That's all I've got for today. Thanks so much. It's really great to see you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.